Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Mahalia Joseph and C News is live at noon. Topping the news at this time, a man is dead and a woman injured following a shooting in Las Cuevas this morning. According to reports at around 3:30, residents of St. Michael's Village reported hearing several explosions. Upon checking, they found 32-year-old Roger Clement and 24-year-old Melanie Norega bleeding from gunshot wounds. C News understands residents took the two to hospital. However, Clement died. Norega is said to be in a serious condition. Calypso Rose is in hospital in Paris, but it's nothing to worry about. C News was told the Calypso icon was being treated for gout, which is a form of inflammatory arthritis characterized by recurrent attacks of a red, tender, hot, and a swollen joint. She was admitted on Friday and is expected to be discharged on Tuesday. Members of various trade unions this morning took part in the annual May Day March. It started at the headquarters of the Oil Fields Workers Trade Union at Paramount Building in San Fernando and went to Harris Promenade. The walk started just before 11 a.m. and you can join us for more on this in the C News report at 7. On the occasion of International Workers' Day, May Day 2017, the Movement for Social Justice is expressing concern over the high rate of poverty and unemployment in Trinidad and Tobago. This as it believes both the labor movement and governments past and present have failed to do its part in creating better labor relations in this country. Janine Brown has more.
In a statement, the MHD said around 25% of the population remains living in poverty. That it noted the challenge for the labor movement to create conditions for a more equitable society. Of its key priorities at this time are fighting for progressive labor legislation, including major reforms to the Industrial Relations Act, the Workmen's Compensation Act and the OSHA Act. It also included equal pay for equal work for women and the end of discrimination on any and all grounds. It noted, however, that these are not new initiatives, but said it believes little or no headway has been made over the years due to disunity in the movement, which it says has allowed the employer class and the political directorate to get away with murder. The MHD ended by saying only a political party that truly represents the interests of the working people and the poor can bring about fundamental change. Janine Brown, C News.
The Mova Health Center will remain closed today and tomorrow as upgrade works to the electrical and air condition supply at the facility continue. In a statement, the Northwest Regional Health Authority said a service is expected to resume on Wednesday, 3rd May 2017 at 8 a.m. It said all persons with clinic appointments would be rescheduled and members of the public can continue to access care at any other health center under the purview of the NWRHA. Police officers are asking for a 13.5% salary increase for the period 2014 to 2016. The president of the Representing Police Service Social and Welfare Association, Inspector Michael Seals, spoke with C News this morning and said negotiations for that period had elapsed and they were invited to restart negotiations.
Invited to negotiate by the chief personnel officer. It's not that the police service was in fact embarking on negotiation. It was based on a request from the chief personnel officer. We responded to that request. We would have done our due diligence and we are satisfied that we will in fact be asking for 13.5% increase over the period 2014 to 2016.
Mr. Seals said it's up to the Minister of Finance and the Chief Personnel Officer to start discussions. He also addressed concerns that there may be not enough money to get the 13.5% increase.
They have already demonstrated that they have the wherewithal because we would have gotten 2 delayed payments for our negotiation period of 2010 to 2013. So there is the possibility that even though you may conclude negotiation, you can have delayed payments. So it takes care of anything like that in terms of whether they have money or money in terms of the economy. They have set up systems where they can structure payments so that it doesn't affect the government's recurring expenditure.
This is the C News Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. Financial analyst Shubhas Ramkilawan says Trinidad and Tobago must put emotion aside when dealing with issues in the country, including the separation of the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. Speaking on CTV this morning, he said the H&S Fund was set up for a rainy day, and that's what the country is facing right now.
The question that is being asked and that has to be determined is how much of it should be heritage and how much of it should be stabilization. If you are unstable, my argument is stabilize now. So that gives the answer as to how much you should be drawing on. It's a difficult proposition. Let us be clear, we are in a difficult situation and all hands on deck, basically.
He said, as it stands, this country is between a rock and a hard place, and government has to increase revenue while decreasing expenditure. And this can have both economic and political backlash.
If we very quickly adjust expenses in terms of transfers and subsidies, we will have to slash the social budget. We will have to reduce the transfers that we make in the main to corporations that are not revenue generating, or that are not generating revenue to cover their expenses.
The Tobago House of Assembly is in the process of working with the IMF as they seek to deepen public-private partnerships. Deputy Chief Secretary and Secretary of Finance of the THA says that this opens the way for exciting projects to happen.
Participated in the annual IMF World Bank spring meetings, and I believe those meetings were fruitful, especially for Tobago. And we left here with some agreement with the World Bank agencies in terms of providing technical assistance to the Tobago House of Assembly as we expand our public-private partnership modality.
He said the Jazz Festival was vibrant and did bring in a great deal of revenue.
Jazz finished last night. Jazz started with a bang the weekend before in Speyside, and the numbers pointed to another positive year for jazz. The numbers over the weekend could have been a little bit better, but again, we continue to make the necessary investment.
He notes a review will be carried out to discover why, although highly successful, the festival did not quite bring in the expected revenues. Mr. Jack said it may be as a result of a cancellation by one of the artists, but assured the usual assessment will bring answers. The Ministry of Energy says it will continue to monitor the oil spill which spread from Trinidad to the Venezuelan maritime boundary. In a statement, the ministry said it is tracking the trajectory of the oil spill through computer-based models of aerial and maritime surveys as the spill is moving in a westerly direction. It said the activation of the TNT Venezuela bilateral oil spill plan via diplomatic channels through the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs and at the operational level with officials of Petroleas de Venezuela S.A., the Venezuelan authorities conducted counterpart daily aerial surveys which confirmed initial sightings of oil in Venezuelan waters on April 27th, it stated. Venezuela is now treating with the oil and the impacted areas. Several people got their questions on property tax answered this morning as the series Property Tax Your Questions Answered began on Talk City 91.1 FM. Valuation surveyor Dr. Sunil Lalu was in the hot seat. Rishi Harinanan has a recap of some of what was discussed.
On the valuation return form, people are asked to say how much they think their property would be rented for.
The government is giving you an opportunity to say what you think your property could rent for. Now that may be a contentious thing, and the Institute of Surveyors has actually advised people to leave that out altogether or to simply put unknown, and I would advise that as well, to just leave it out.
When submitting the VRF, if you don't have some of the required documents, you do not have to submit it.
What you are required to do is to fill out the form. The part that says section Schedule 2, the return, you have to fill out that part. If you have any information such as a deed, a survey plan, and any of the documents that they are asking for, like the water bill, the electricity bill, which most people would have, then you should submit copies of those. But you do not need to submit all or any of them, just what you have.
He explained if the building is used for commercial purposes, the landlord should only count the number of bedrooms.
If it is being rented, which is exactly your case, if it is being rented and you have like units, like apartment units for rent, then what you are stating is the number of bedrooms. Under purpose, you're going to put vacant land, vacant residential land, or vacant commercial land, and in the cases of vacant land, Section 4 does not apply at all. So you put not applicable under Section 4.
As for squatters, Dr. Lalu said people who have a certificate of comfort are encouraged to submit the form, and for others,
squatters who are not being regularized, that is a very, very contentious issue. The state has actually asked that they submit return forms, whether or not they are charged the tax, and if they pay the tax in their name, that could be something that ends up in court.
if the person is deceased and the land has not been placed on anyone else's name, the occupier should also submit the VRF.
In cases where the owner has passed away, on the return form where they have owners at Section 2, you should state estate of the deceased. So if the deceased is, let's say, John Smith, the owner should be estate of John Smith, and you would also list the current occupiers who are the living heirs of the family.
Okay. The Ministry of Finance has asked for all forms to be submitted by May 22nd, 2017. Rishi Harinanan, C News.
Advice to parents during this week to look out for stress-related symptoms due to examination-related stress from children, especially those set to write the Secondary Examination Assessment or SEA in a few days. This from Hanif Benjamin of the Center for Human Development, who is speaking on CTV's Good Morning TNT.
You revert to something of before. So for younger kids who are writing SEA, you find that they might want to be in a place of comfort. So they regress to that place as a child. So you might find they are sleeping too much or sleeping too little, depending on what's going on. You might find in terms of eating might be very different, right? It's either eating too much or eating too little.
The man said there are many symptoms, some of which parents need to be aware of and must also refrain from adding pressure on their children.
Preparing for this SEA exam this week and also the beginning of the CSEC and or CAPE. And I know it was a stressful time for me. I'm not sure about you if it was a stressful time for you. But as a clinician, we see a lot of people coming in pre-exam with a lot of stress-related anxieties.
The Minister of Education says all government schools are ready for the SEA exams, which is set to take place this coming Thursday. More than 18,000 are expected to write the exam. The minister said supervisors have been trained, testers have been given their assignments through the training, and everything is in place to ensure that there are no hiccups. Legendary reggae dancehall star Rexton Gordon, better known as dancehall king Shabba Ranks, says the rivalry and clashes associated with the genre is not helping the art form. The two-time Grammy Award winner spoke to the media after his energetic performance at the Tobago Jazz Experience over the weekend.
I'm gonna like it, Bridget, because it's on our music really have it at that level. Me not really see Mick Jagger across Bruce Springsteen or win a competition with Bruce Springsteen. Me not see Paul McCartney win a competition with Odell or some of him peers them. You see? In a way, it kind of get the music a hype. But where the foundation is concerned, it doesn't help the music.
Shabba, who was honored last October in his native Jamaica with a national award, explains why the order of distinction he received is worth more than his 2 Grammys.
Well, it's better than the 2 Grammys, you know. Because the 2 Grammys is like them people that just know because of music. It's great when me as a local youth, a ghetto youth, who people expect to have nothing in life, and I use the little bit that I have and work to the best of my ability so my island could recognize me and lift me up. other distinction better than the Grammy for me because I'm a people them from Jamaica. Recognize them, I walk with the little bit of my art from my island. I make myself a man and hold my flag high, you see? Yeah.
And that's how we end the C News report at noon. I'm Mahalia Joseph. Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, you can visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. Have a good afternoon.